Leora stared out of the small window of their cramped apartment, her fingers resting lightly on Kale's soft curls as he slept beside her. The city outside was a jumble of tall gray buildings and flickering neon lights. Even though the sun never fully reached the streets, people below moved with purpose, faces hidden behind masks of exhaustion and worry. Leora felt that same exhaustion pressing against her chest, a weight she could not shake. She had done everything she could to survive, working long hours at the market, mending clothes for neighbors, and cleaning the small apartments of wealthier families. But none of it was enough. Kale stirred in his sleep, groaning softly. Leora's heart tightened. His illness had been growing worse over the past weeks. The doctors had done what they could, but their technology was limited. Only an advanced treatment available far beyond their planet could save him. That treatment was expensive, far beyond what Leora could earn in a lifetime. She swallowed hard, her throat tight with fear. "I don't know how to fix this," she whispered, her voice breaking in the quiet apartment. She had promised herself she would always protect Kale, and now she felt powerless. The air felt thick, almost heavy, as if the walls themselves were pressing in, reminding her of her failures. Her attention shifted when a soft chime sounded from her small communicator. She picked it up with trembling hands. The message was brief, almost formal, but it made her heart leap. It was from a group she had only heard about in whispers, aliens who sometimes helped humans who were in extreme need. Their reputation was legendary, sometimes generous, sometimes selective, but always fair in their way. The message read, "An opportunity exists for you to assist in our colony. In return, your child may receive necessary treatment. Reply if you accept." Some had wings like glimmering silk, others had skin that reflected light like a mirror, and all of them were taller and stronger than humans. She had seen them from afar only in news broadcasts, floating elegantly through the skyways of distant colonies. But then she looked down at Kale, curled up in her arms. His small hand reached for hers, and he murmured in his sleep, "Mama." Leora was given instructions for travel. She would be picked up at the central spaceport at dawn. She packed only what was necessary, a few clothes for herself, Kale's blanket, and a small locket her mother had left her years ago. The thought of leaving everything she had ever known was terrifying, but there was no other choice. Kale's life depended on it. At the spaceport, the scene was unlike anything Leora had ever imagined. Ships with sleek metallic surfaces hovered silently above the ground. Alien beings moved gracefully among humans, their skin shimmering with colors that changed with their emotions. They spoke in soft, melodic tones, their voices like music. Leora felt small and uncertain among them, but she held Kale close and reminded herself that this was necessary. A figure approached them, tall and luminous, with eyes that seemed to see everything. It introduced itself as Saren, the coordinator of the Human Exchange Program. Saren's voice was gentle but commanding. "Leora, you are here because you have something rare within you, the courage to love and protect, the ability to think with both heart and mind. Your skills will help our colony, and in turn, your child will receive the treatment he needs." Saren's presence was both comforting and intimidating, a combination that made her stomach twist in anticipation and fear. "Come," Saren said, gesturing to a small craft. "Your journey begins now." Some glowed softly like distant lanterns, while others pulsed rhythmically, almost as if alive. Kale pressed his face to her chest, sensing her anxiety, and she stroked his hair, whispering words of comfort. After hours that felt both brief and eternal, the craft docked at the alien colony. Leora's breath caught in her throat as she stepped onto solid ground. The city was massive, built on multiple layers that floated in the void of space. Bridges connected towering spires, and gardens of glowing plants floated in midair, feeding light to the entire colony. Aliens moved through the streets with an ease that spoke of centuries of harmony and knowledge. Saren guided them to their quarters, a modest but elegant space filled with light and warmth. "Here you will rest," Saren said. "Tomorrow your training and assignments begin." She remembered the small moments that had shaped her, teaching Kale to walk, reading him bedtime stories, laughing at his clumsy attempts to imitate animals. Every sacrifice she had made now seemed worth it, for it had led her to this chance. The next morning, she woke early. Saren was waiting, as were several other humans who had accepted similar opportunities. They were gathered in a bright hall filled with holographic screens and floating instruments. Aliens of many shapes and sizes observed from the edges, their eyes curious and kind. "You will learn," Saren began, "that your strength is not in muscles or weapons, but in the qualities that make humans unique. empathy, creativity, and the will to protect one another. You will assist us in projects that require insight into the human mind and heart. Your child will be cared for while you work, and in time, he will receive the treatment he needs. She could face this new world, not alone, but with Kale by her side, and with allies who wanted to help rather than harm. The days that followed were full of learning. Leora was introduced to alien technology that seemed magical, machines that healed wounds instantly, devices that created food with perfect nutrition, and tools that could translate emotions into light and sound. She struggled at first, feeling clumsy and out of place, but Saren and the others guided her patiently. She discovered that her real talent was in understanding both humans and aliens. She could notice small misunderstandings, subtle differences in behavior, and gently correct them, helping groups work together smoothly. Her insight brought smiles and relief to both species, and she felt a sense of pride that she had not known in years. Kale, meanwhile, was thriving. The treatment process had begun in stages, and his energy returned slowly but surely. Leora watched him run and laugh in the floating gardens, his joy a balm to her heart. She realized that every step she had taken, every risk she had accepted, had been worth it. One evening, as the colony glowed under the light of distant stars, Leora sat on a balcony with Kale. The boy pointed to a floating city in the distance, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mama, is that where we live now?" he asked. "Yes," Leora said softly, holding him close. "And this is only the beginning. We are safe here, and we will grow stronger. You will be healthy, and we will find a way to make a difference in this world." Together they could face whatever came next, and perhaps, just perhaps, they could leave a mark on this new world that no one would forget. As the night deepened, Leora looked up at the stars. She whispered a quiet promise to herself. She would not only save her child, but she would also show the universe what humans could do when they chose hope, love, and courage over fear. And with that promise, she felt a new strength rising within her, a strength that would guide her through the days to come. The next morning, Leora awoke to a soft glow filling their quarters. The floating gardens outside sparkled with colors she had never seen before, plants that shimmered in blues, purples, and greens, reflecting light like tiny stars. Kale was already awake, bouncing on the bed with excitement. "Mama, come see," he shouted, pointing toward the balcony. Leora smiled, brushing her hair back. She followed him outside, feeling the gentle breeze that carried scents of flowers and minerals unfamiliar to her. The city stretched endlessly in every direction, with bridges connecting towers and transparent walkways that hovered without support. Aliens moved gracefully across them, their steps silent, their forms elegant and strange. Some had translucent wings that caught the sunlight, others had limbs that moved in ways humans could not imitate, yet they seemed perfectly normal in their world. A soft chime sounded near them, and Saren appeared, floating lightly above the ground. "Good morning, Leora," Saren said warmly. "Today you begin your first assignment. Follow me. Your role is not physical, but intellectual and emotional. Humans have qualities that aliens sometimes cannot understand. You will teach, assist, and guide. Your insight will be invaluable." Leora realized this was not a colony simply for study or survival. It was a place for collaboration, where humans and aliens worked together to create something new. Saren led her to a large hall filled with floating screens and instruments that seemed to operate without any visible energy source. Aliens of many shapes hovered nearby, observing and interacting. "This is the integration hall," Saren explained. "Here, humans and aliens collaborate to understand each other, to create solutions that benefit both species. Your first task will be to assist in a project involving communication and creativity." A small group of humans gathered nearby, and one of them, a young man named Joran, smiled at her. "First day?" he asked. "Yes," Leora replied, her voice trembling slightly. "I hope I can do well." They walked into a room filled with holographic models of cities, machines, and landscapes. The aliens in the room had shimmering, translucent forms, their movements smooth and precise. Some were studying the models, others were adjusting floating panels, while a few watched humans intently, their eyes glowing softly. "This project involves designing a sustainable energy system for a new settlement," Saren said. "Aliens have technology that humans do not, but they sometimes miss solutions that come from human intuition and creativity. That is where you come in." Energy flowed through the holograms like rivers of light, and she realized that some of the systems seemed overly complicated. The aliens focused on efficiency and perfection, but they missed simple ways to connect ideas and balance resources. She raised her hand hesitantly. "Excuse me," she said. "I think there might be a simpler way to connect the energy flow between the buildings. It would reduce waste and make the system easier to maintain. If we redirect a portion of the energy through smaller conduits that branch out naturally, instead of forcing it through centralized channels, it will balance the load. This way, every building receives what it needs without overloading the main conduits. It also allows the system to adjust if one source fails." After a moment it nodded. "Intriguing," it said. "Your logic is unusual but effective. Implement this." Leora found herself immersed in the work, constantly observing, thinking, and suggesting. The aliens were quick learners, but they appreciated her insight, often pausing to ask questions about human reasoning. Leora discovered that humans excelled in empathy and problem-solving in ways aliens could not fully grasp. She realized that this was her strength, seeing connections, predicting behavior, and understanding feelings. During a break, Leora walked through the gardens with Kale. The boy's laughter echoed softly as he chased a small floating creature that resembled a glowing fish. Leora watched him and felt her heart swell. He was safe here, surrounded by beings who cared for him, and she was growing stronger too. Saren approached them, his voice soft and melodic. "You are doing well, Leora. Your contribution is valuable. You may not realize it, but you are teaching the aliens as much as you are learning from them." "I want to do everything I can." The aliens were fascinated by human imagination and emotion. They asked questions that challenged Leora to think deeply, to explain why humans acted in certain ways, and to find creative solutions to problems that required both logic and feeling. Leora discovered she had a talent for bringing people together. When disagreements arose, she suggested compromises that respected everyone's needs. When an alien struggled to understand a human concept, she found a story, a metaphor, or a simple demonstration that clarified it. Slowly, she realized that her presence was making a real difference. Humans and aliens alike began to look to her for guidance. One afternoon, she was called to a meeting with the senior aliens of the colony. They were taller and more luminous than any she had met before. Their eyes glimmered with curiosity and intelligence. "You have adapted quickly, Leora," one of them said. "Your insight into human thought and behavior is remarkable. You help us see what we cannot, and you bring humans closer to our understanding. This is valuable beyond measure." "I am just trying to do my best," she said softly. "I want to help Kale, and I want to contribute to your work." She watched Kale sleep, his small chest rising and falling steadily. The treatment process was progressing well, and he was regaining strength. She felt a deep sense of relief. For the first time, she believed that she could truly provide him with a safe and happy life. She thought about her journey, the desperation that had brought her here, the fear she had faced, and the courage she had found within herself. She realized that being human was not a weakness, as the aliens sometimes feared, but a strength. Her empathy, her intuition, and her love for Kale had carried her this far, and they would carry her further still. The next morning, Leora stood on the balcony, looking out over the floating city. She felt a sense of purpose that was new and powerful. She was no longer just a mother struggling to survive. She was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. Kale ran up to her, his eyes shining. "Mama, look, I can reach the top of the garden tree." "Yes, you can," she said, "and one day you will reach even higher." The colony was no longer a strange and intimidating place. It was a place of growth, learning, and hope. And Leora, once a frightened mother clinging to survival, had begun to find her own place among the stars, shining as brightly as any being in the galaxy. Days turned into weeks, and Leora's confidence grew steadily. Each morning she awoke to the soft glow of the floating gardens outside their quarters, Kale already eager to explore the wonders of the colony. The boy's laughter filled the halls as he ran along the transparent pathways, occasionally pausing to watch glowing insects or floating plants. Seeing him healthy and happy filled Leora's heart with a joy she had not felt in years. Her work in the colony had become more complex. The aliens began assigning her to larger projects, ones that required both insight and initiative. One morning, Saren appeared at her quarters with a warm smile. "Today, we have a new challenge for you," he said. "It involves improving the communication networks between human and alien teams. Your task is to find ways to make collaboration more efficient and harmonious." She arrived at the integration hall, where holographic screens displayed the colony's ongoing projects. Groups of humans and aliens worked together, but she could see the inefficiencies immediately. Some teams duplicated efforts, while others struggled to share ideas clearly. Leora approached one group gently. Perhaps if we assign specific roles based on each being's strengths, we can avoid confusion, she suggested. Humans excel at empathy and understanding context. Aliens excel at precision and processing information quickly. Together, we can balance the workflow. If each human is paired with one or two aliens for each project, they can translate each other's intentions and correct misunderstandings in real time. Humans can anticipate reactions and needs, while aliens handle the technical details. This system will save time and reduce errors. We are curious to see the result. When confusion appeared, she explained in simple, clear terms what each side needed. Slowly, the results became clear. Tasks were completed more efficiently. Projects that had once taken days were now finished in hours. Aliens who had initially been skeptical of human methods began to acknowledge her contributions. They asked questions, seeking her advice and insight. Leora realized that her ability to understand emotions and intentions was a rare gift, one that even these highly intelligent beings valued deeply. Meanwhile, Kale continued to thrive. The treatment process for his condition was ongoing, and his energy returned day by day. He explored the colony with unbounded curiosity, asking questions and observing the strange world around him. Leora took him to workshops and cultural sessions, teaching him to interact with aliens and humans alike. She smiled as she watched him learn quickly, his mind open and eager. One afternoon, a problem arose that tested Leora's ingenuity in a new way. A new energy module had been installed in one of the floating gardens, designed to regulate light and nutrients for the plants. The aliens' calculations were precise, but the module was overloading certain sections, causing plants to wilt in one area while others grew uncontrollably. Leora examined the system carefully. She noticed that the humans in the team were trying to adjust it with logic alone, but they were missing the patterns that the living plants naturally followed. She stepped forward, gently suggesting, "What if we observe how the plants respond over time and adjust the system gradually? We don't need to force it. We just need to guide it in balance with their natural rhythms." She taught them to notice patterns in the plant's growth, the subtle shifts in color and movement that indicated stress or health. She suggested adjustments that followed the natural cycles instead of forcing artificial precision. Slowly, the garden stabilized. The plants grew evenly, light flowed gently, and the floating paths between them glowed softly. The aliens observed silently, their eyes reflecting admiration. "You have solved what we could not," one said. "Your method is unusual but effective. You understand living systems in ways we cannot. This is a rare quality." It was not just about saving Kale anymore. It was about showing that humans had strengths that could shine even in a world far beyond Earth. Her mind brimmed with ideas, and she realized that this was only the beginning. The following week, the colony faced another challenge, this time involving a cultural project. The aliens wanted to develop a series of educational programs to teach new human arrivals about alien technology and society. They had designed a curriculum that was precise and highly structured, but humans found it difficult to understand and absorb. Leora was asked to assist. She examined the materials and immediately saw the problem. The aliens' method relied heavily on abstract logic, leaving little room for narrative, imagination, or emotional connection. Leora suggested, "What if we use stories and examples from human experiences? People learn better when they can relate to the material, when it connects to what they know." They are slow and imprecise. Leora gathered a group of humans and began creating lessons that incorporated stories, analogies, and practical examples. They used holographic displays to visualize the narratives, combining logic with emotion. The results were immediate. Human students absorbed the lessons more quickly, remembered details better, and even began suggesting improvements to the curriculum themselves. The aliens watched in amazement. "We underestimated this method," one said. "It is not precise, but it is effective. Your human creativity has value beyond our calculations." She realized that this collaboration was more than a job. It was a chance to show the universe that humans could contribute in ways that even advanced beings had not imagined. During this time, Kale's health continued to improve. His energy was returning fully, and his curiosity seemed endless. Leora encouraged him to explore the colony safely, to ask questions, and to observe both humans and aliens. She was proud of his intelligence, his empathy, and his courage. Watching him grow, she understood that her sacrifices had not only saved his life, they had given him a chance to thrive in a world full of possibilities. One evening, as the stars glittered outside, Leora walked along a floating bridge with Kale. He held her hand tightly, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mama," he said softly, "do you think I can help the aliens someday like you? Those qualities will help you understand others, just like they help me." As they stood there, Saren appeared beside them, his glowing form calm and gentle. "You have done well, Leora," he said. "You have shown us the strengths of humanity, and you have taught us that collaboration is more than logic. It is understanding, empathy, and care. Your child will thrive because of your courage and dedication." "Thank you," she whispered. "I just want him to be safe and happy." In that moment, she realized that her journey was not just about survival. It was about growth, understanding, and hope. The colony was teaching her as much as she was teaching it. She was discovering her own strengths, and she was helping to create a world where humans and aliens could thrive together. As night fell, she held Kale close and gazed at the stars. She thought of the long journey that had brought them here, the fear, the uncertainty, and the desperate hope that had carried her forward. She realized that humans had a power the universe often overlooked, the ability to care deeply, to see connections others missed, and to find solutions through love, empathy, and imagination. Leora whispered a quiet promise to herself and to Kale. They would continue to learn, to grow, and to shine. Together, they would show the galaxy the best of humanity, not through strength or weapons, but through compassion, intelligence, and courage. And in that promise, she felt a light rising within her, a warmth that would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. The colony had become a second home to Leora and Kale. Every morning, the soft glow of alien flora illuminated their quarters, and the hum of energy fields reminded her that this was a world unlike any she had ever known. Yet it was no longer intimidating. She walked the streets with confidence, guiding Kale by the hand as he ran ahead, laughing and exploring, eager to discover the wonders around him. Leora's role in the colony had grown considerably. She was now trusted to lead small projects, coordinate human-alien teams, and even propose ideas to senior alien researchers. Her insight into human behavior and intuition had become invaluable, and she felt a growing sense of purpose. The fear she had felt when she first arrived had been replaced by determination, a quiet knowledge that she could make a difference. One morning, Saren appeared at their quarters with a gentle smile. "Leora, today you will begin a major project," he said. "It involves designing a new sustainable habitat for humans who will arrive in the coming months. Your experience, insight, and understanding of both humans and aliens will be crucial." She knew the stakes were high, not only for her reputation in the colony, but for the humans who would soon live there. She glanced at Kale, who was already examining a small floating model of the city with fascination. Together, they made their way to the integration hall, where holographic models displayed the proposed habitats. Aliens and humans were already working in groups, discussing layouts, energy flows, and environmental systems. The aliens' designs were precise, elegant, and efficient, but Leora immediately noticed potential problems. Some of the structures lacked adaptability for human needs, and others ignored the ways humans interacted with space and community. Leora began speaking, her voice steady and clear. "These designs are excellent for energy efficiency, but humans also need comfort, accessibility, and interaction," she explained. "Spaces should encourage connection, creativity, and safety. For example, walkways should be wide enough for groups to pass comfortably, common areas should allow for learning and play, and lighting should adjust to natural human rhythms." She suggested flexible layouts, adaptable energy systems, and spaces that allowed both species to interact naturally. She encouraged input from humans and aliens alike, facilitating discussion and compromise. Her leadership brought a balance that no single species had achieved alone. Kale often joined her during breaks, exploring the floating gardens and interacting with the young alien apprentices. Leora watched him with pride as he asked questions, offered observations, and learned quickly. She realized that the colony had not only saved his life, but had given him an education and perspective she could never have provided alone. As the project progressed, Leora faced new challenges. Some alien researchers were skeptical of her suggestions, insisting on rigid efficiency. Others were concerned that human intuition might create unpredictability. Leora approached each challenge with patience, explaining her reasoning clearly and demonstrating the benefits of her ideas. She showed how humans' understanding of emotion, behavior, and creativity could enhance the colony's plans, making them more resilient and adaptable. Slowly, the aliens began to trust her judgment. They saw how her guidance improved collaboration, increased productivity, and fostered harmony between species. Leora realized that she was not only teaching them, but also inspiring them to value human qualities they had previously underestimated. One afternoon, a minor crisis arose. A section of the energy grid that powered the floating gardens was malfunctioning. Aliens worked quickly, but their methods were precise and rigid, causing temporary imbalances. Leora observed quietly, noticing that the system responded to subtle environmental cues that the aliens had overlooked. She stepped forward and suggested, "If we adjust the flow gradually and monitor the response of the plants, we can stabilize the system without causing stress. It requires patience, but it will maintain balance in the long term." Within hours, the system stabilized. The plants glowed softly, their growth returning to normal. The team looked at Leora with admiration, recognizing the value of human intuition and observation. Leora's influence in the colony grew steadily. She began mentoring other humans, helping them adapt to the alien way of life while encouraging them to share their unique perspectives. She facilitated cultural exchanges, teaching aliens about human emotions, social dynamics, and creative problem-solving. Her work strengthened the bonds between species, creating an environment of trust and collaboration. Kale thrived alongside her. He attended educational sessions, participated in experiments, and explored the colony's wonders with wonder and curiosity. Leora marveled at his growth, realizing that he was becoming a bridge between humans and aliens, just as she had. His laughter, intelligence, and kindness reminded her daily of why she had accepted this journey in the first place. One evening, as the colony glowed under distant starlight, Saren approached Leora with a serene expression. "Your contributions have surpassed expectations," he said. "You have not only guided humans and aliens in collaboration, but have shown the true potential of human qualities: empathy, creativity, and resilience. The new habitat design is thriving under your leadership, and your work will influence generations to come. I want humans and aliens to understand each other and to thrive together." She thought about the journey that had brought them here, from fear and desperation to hope and purpose. She realized that their lives had been transformed, not just by the aliens' technology, but by her courage, determination, and love. In the weeks that followed, the new habitats were completed. Humans arrived, guided by Leora and other mentors, and quickly adapted to the colony's ways. The spaces were efficient yet welcoming, fostering interaction, creativity, and safety. Leora walked among the newcomers, offering guidance, listening to their concerns, and watching them thrive. She felt a profound satisfaction in knowing that she had helped create a future for them that she had once thought impossible. The aliens observed the results with admiration. They began to recognize that humans brought a unique value to their society, a combination of emotional intelligence, creativity, and resilience that complemented their precision and logic. Leora's work had demonstrated that collaboration between species could achieve remarkable results, and she had become a respected figure in the colony. Kale, now healthy and full of energy, ran through the gardens with other children, both human and alien. Leora watched him, feeling pride and joy. She remembered the nights when he had been sick, when she had felt helpless and afraid. Now he was thriving, curious, and confident. She realized that her sacrifices had been worthwhile. Not only had she saved his life, but she had also given him a world full of opportunities and wonder. One afternoon, as Leora walked through the integration hall, she overheard a conversation between two senior aliens. "The humans are remarkable," one said. "Their intuition and creativity are beyond what we expected. Leora has shown us the value of these qualities, and we must continue to learn from them. They bring balance and perspective that we could never achieve alone." As night fell, Leora stood on the balcony, looking out at the glowing city and the distant stars. She felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. The journey had been difficult, filled with uncertainty and fear, but it had also been transformative. She had discovered her own strength, the value of human qualities, and the possibilities that arose when courage, empathy, and creativity guided action. Kale ran up to her, pointing to the floating gardens below. "Mama, look, the lights are shining brighter tonight." She realized that humanity's true strength was not in power or technology, but in compassion, intelligence, and the willingness to persevere. In a galaxy full of wonders, humans had a unique light, one that could inspire and transform. And Leora, once a frightened mother desperate to save her child, had become a symbol of that light. She had shown that with courage, determination, and love, humans could not only survive, they could thrive, inspire, and create a brighter future for themselves and for others. The colony had settled into a rhythm of harmony and collaboration. Leora walked through the floating pathways, observing humans and aliens working side by side. Holographic displays floated above their heads, showing ongoing projects. Sustainable energy grids, educational programs, cultural exchanges, and health initiatives. Every corner of the colony reflected careful planning, collaboration, and creativity, a combination of alien technology and human insight. Leora paused for a moment, looking at Kale as he raced ahead with a group of children, both human and alien. The boy laughed, his voice light and clear, and he seemed at ease in this extraordinary world. Seeing him happy and thriving filled Leora's heart with a profound sense of fulfillment. She remembered the days when he had been weak and sick, when fear and desperation had pressed upon her chest like a heavy weight. Now he was healthy, curious, and full of energy, a living proof that hope, courage, and determination could change lives. Her own life had transformed in ways she had never imagined. She was no longer a frightened mother struggling to survive. She was a respected member of the colony, a bridge between species, and a mentor to humans and aliens alike. Her unique insight, her understanding of empathy, behavior, and human creativity was now recognized as a strength. The aliens had come to value her perspective, seeking her guidance on projects that required more than logic and calculation. One morning, Saren appeared at her quarters with a warm, serene smile. "Leora, your contributions have reached a new stage. The Council has approved a program in your name, designed to encourage future humans to integrate fully into the colony, teaching both creativity and collaboration. You have inspired a generation, and your work will continue to guide others for years to come. Kale is proof of that potential, and the programs you have developed will spread this understanding even further." Humanity, in its resilience, creativity, and empathy, had become a shining example for aliens to learn from. Kale ran into her arms, giggling as he hugged her tightly. "Mama, look, I built a bridge in the garden." "Mama, do you think I can help the aliens too?" Students of all ages, both human and alien, participated eagerly. The workshops encouraged curiosity, empathy, and innovation, teaching practical skills while fostering a sense of connection and collaboration. One afternoon, Leora was invited to speak before the Council of Senior Aliens. They were the most experienced and respected members of the colony, beings who had seen centuries of progress and innovation. The room was filled with anticipation as Leora approached. She stood calmly, Kale beside her, and began to speak. "I came here because I wanted to save my child," she began. "I did not know what to expect, and I was afraid. But I learned that humans have strengths that go beyond what anyone could measure: empathy, creativity, imagination, and resilience. These qualities allow us to connect, to solve problems in unexpected ways, and to inspire others. My hope is that humans and aliens will continue to learn from each other, to work together, and to create a future where both can thrive. You have bridged worlds, saved a life, and inspired many. Your vision will guide this colony for generations." She had given her child a life filled with hope, learning, and opportunity, and in doing so, she had shown the universe the best of humanity. Days later, Leora and Kale walked through the newly completed habitat. Children played in open spaces, laughter mingling with the hum of energy systems. Humans and aliens moved together effortlessly, sharing knowledge, helping one another, and enjoying the beauty of a world designed for harmony. Leora paused to watch a group of students experimenting with a new energy module. A young human girl explained an adjustment to an alien student, who nodded and followed her instructions carefully. Leora smiled, recognizing the lesson she had taught them. Collaboration, understanding, and mutual respect were more powerful than technology alone. Kale ran to her, holding a small flower that glowed softly in his hand. "Mama, I picked this for you," he said. Leora took it, holding him close. "Thank you, my love. You are learning to see the beauty in everything, just like your mama." And most importantly, she had given Kale a life filled with health, opportunity, and love. The aliens had come to understand that humanity's true strength was not in brute force or advanced machines, but in qualities that could inspire and unite. Leora had shown them that empathy, imagination, and determination could achieve what efficiency and logic alone could not. That evening, Leora stood on the balcony of their quarters, watching the stars sparkle above the floating city. Kale sat on her shoulder, leaning against her as she held him. The colony stretched before them, glowing softly, a testament to what collaboration and understanding could achieve. Saren appeared beside them, his glowing form radiating calm and warmth. "You have done well, Leora. The colony thrives because of your courage and insight. Kale is healthy, happy, and learning. You have created a legacy that will endure for generations. And I've learned that humans can make a difference, even in worlds far beyond our own." Children played, aliens observed curiously, and the air was filled with a sense of harmony and possibility. Kale looked up at the stars. "Mama, do you think there are other places we can help like we helped here? With courage, love, and imagination, we can make a difference everywhere." They had faced fear, uncertainty, and sacrifice, but in the end they had found a place where they could thrive, learn, and inspire. Humanity's true strength had been revealed, not through weapons or power, but through love, courage, and creativity. Leora knew that their journey was far from over. There were still challenges ahead, still worlds to explore, still lives to touch. But she also knew that as long as they faced the future together, nothing was impossible. Humans could shine in any galaxy, inspire any being, and create brighter worlds through empathy, imagination, and determination. Holding Kale close, Leora whispered a quiet promise. They would continue to grow, to learn, and to shine. They would show the universe the best of humanity, one small act at a time. And in that promise, she felt the light of hope and love burning brightly, guiding them toward the future they would build together. For Leora and Kale, the galaxy was no longer a place of fear or uncertainty. It was a canvas of endless possibility, where humanity's courage, compassion, and ingenuity could leave a mark on the stars. And with that, their story, one of love, determination, and the triumph of the human spirit, was only just beginning.